All right, good morning, guys. So my name is Hannah Owens, and today we are going to take a kind of a deep dive into South Padre Island, which is in Texas. So Texas has some amazing beaches. South Padre is unlike any other destination I've ever been to. Um, when you go, it's truly a unique experience. They refer to nobody's in a hurry. First off, when you're on South Padre Island, it's called island time. So do not go and expect to be in a rush to get to anywhere. Everywhere you go, everybody's on island time. It's very relaxed atmosphere, and it's just truly a remarkable place. I visited a few times and stayed, and I never want to leave. It's absolutely beautiful. So we are just going to get right into it, and I'll kind of just start sharing some stuff with you guys today. So it is in the Gulf of Mexico, okay? And it is on the far western coast of Texas, right up next to the Mexico border. And this kind of little key thing I made, I know it's not real, real professional looking, but I threw this together just to kind of give you guys a visual. So here in the middle, you have South Padre Island. Now, South Padre Island in its entirety is 30 miles long, and it is only a half a mile wide at its widest point. So it is a long, skinny strip of land that over centuries was actually created by a river that broke off from the port, and it would pour into it, and it slowly just built this massive sandbar over hundreds of years. And that is how the island was formed. And then eventually that sandbar broke off. So you can see down here, there's this tiny little, this is the highway that how you get from Port Isabel, which is this port here in blue. Take this little bridge across, and that's how you get to the island. Okay. So there are some key features I wanted to kind of cover on this picture here. So you have the island over here next to this left, the strip on the left in yellow. This is going to be the Bayside area, okay? And it also goes through down here. This is where you have a lot of your restaurants. There are restaurants all over the island, but some of my favorites are along this bay side. This is the side where you watch the sunset, and it is absolutely beautiful. A lot of the restaurants over here, there's also like bars and pubs. It is all kid friendly. There is nothing, which is good and bad, right? Because sometimes you want to get away from kids, but they are welcoming to all types of people. Okay. So if you're there on a family vacation, you can bring your kids to the restaurants. They have a lot of the places have like 2-story restaurants where you can go up and sit on an upper level, and they have umbrellas and beautiful outdoor lighting. They have live bands, and so you can kind of just bar hop almost. And again, you could take your kids or leave your kids. That's up to you. But you can just go all along this bayside and kind of skip from one restaurant to another. And it's just really an incredible atmosphere. And we'll get more into specifics of restaurants as well here in a bit. So on this other side where this pink is, this is the beach side, obviously. This is where the majority of your condos are going to be. And they are right on the beach. Every set of condos on this beach side has direct access to the beach through really well-kept walkways. Down the center of the island, there's one main road, and then there's 2 smaller highways that run along between the bay side and the beach side. But there's one main road that goes down the center of the entire island. And I believe it's called Padre Boulevard. And basically that's where all your main tourist shops are and stuff. But if you want to have a beachfront along the far right here, where this pink is, I suggest getting a condo there with that direct beach access. Sunrise over the beach every day, and the moon also is just incredible. We rented a condo on the beach side the first time we went last October, and my husband and I's room had just floor to ceiling windows. And so we would leave the curtain open at night. And every time I'd wake up and roll over, just saw this massive moon just glowing over the ocean. And there's nothing else like it. It was absolutely incredible. Um, so down here at the bottom, you see this bright green line. This represents a jetty that's formed with giant rocks. And you can actually, I believe it's a couple miles long. I think it's 2 or 3 miles long. It costs a few dollars to get there. I think you have to pay, I think it's $12 for like a 24-hour pass. But it's per vehicle. And so then there's parking down there right at the starting of the jetty. And you can walk out as little or as far as you want along this jetty. And what I like about it is if you want to go fishing and you have a fishing license and fishing gear, people will set up along this jetty and fish out there. You can also just go out, and I like to just go out and sit and let the waves crash up on it and you get splashed a little bit. But if you're looking off towards the bay side down here, you can actually see sea turtles in the water. So it really neat experience, especially for kids. My daughter, my youngest one is 8, and she just had the time of her life out there watching for sea turtles, and you could see fish and things in there. So it was really neat. And also, if you're patient, you can also sometimes see dolphins out in this area. So super cool for that as well. So again, this over here is Port Isabel, where this little blue circle is. A little just tidbit of information. If you want to go and spend a week down there in a condo, you know, most condos have fully equipped kitchens. What we did for ours is we wanted to kind of save a little bit, right? We didn't want to have to spend money on eating out breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks. So what we did, they actually have a Walmart and a couple of grocery stores in Port Isabel. And so what I did was place the mobile pickup order for one of the grocery stores that was there. And so whenever we drove down, but if you're getting a rental car, you could do that as well. But we placed a mobile order for groceries and they just picked it up on our way to the island. That way we didn't have to go out to eat for every meal. So anyway, that's just a little thought that I would throw in there. So a couple other keys here. I have a dolphin down here at the bottom. This is where you would get on a dolphin eco tour. You can actually get on a boat and it's like $15 a person. It is not expensive. And you go out for an hour and a half on a boat and you go out and they take you right up. We did this the first time we went and we did it again this past June, and they take you out all through the bay. And there are tons and tons of dolphins, and they'll actually get the dolphins like swimming alongside of the boat and jumping out of the water. It's really fun. They also drag a net as they're slowly coming out of the bay. They drag a net behind the boat. And then once they get more towards open waters, they actually pull the net on board. And whatever they've caught, you can actually, they'll let you hold it. So like they catch like rays, starfish, all different kinds of sea creatures, and you can actually get a real hands-on experience. And all of that is included in the $15 for that boat experience. So really, really cool activity that doesn't cost a lot. Another one is Sea Turtle Inc. This is a nonprofit organization, and it all goes towards rehab and conservation for sea turtles. And it's just a really neat place to go. Again, this place is not expensive, and I have a whole price sheet for you guys we'll go over in a moment. But that was one of my other favorite places that we get to go. We did not do horseback riding, but up here at the very end of the island access, they have another park you can go to, and they offer horseback riding along the beach. So if you're interested in that, that's up here. Another one is Gravity Park. It's an old-fashioned amusement park, believe it or not, on the island, and that's right about here. And then there's Pirates Landing, which is kind of a two-part thing. They have not only a restaurant that is kind of like a grill. They have all different types of food. They have American food, Mexican food, seafood. And just the restaurant itself is really neat. There's statues and photo opportunities all over, inside and outside the restaurant. That's actually over here in Port Isabel. But to get from Port Isabel to South Padre, this bridge takes about 10 minutes or so. It is not far at all. So it's really quick and easy to get right over here to Pirates Landing. Another thing that Pirates Landing offers is a pirate ship tour, and we'll get more into that here in a little bit as well. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys where things are at and how the island is laid out. So where to eat? One of my favorite things to do on the island is eat. They have incredible restaurants. This is just some of the few that I've actually personally experienced. There are plenty others that I've wanted to go to, but for one reason or another, we didn't go, mainly because I have picky kids. So Tom and Jerry's is not on the Bayside. It's actually Center Island, but they have, it's kind of like an Applebee's or a Chili's type vibe, those types of foods, but the portions are huge and just a really fun, lively atmosphere. If you're a beer drinker, they have daily beer specials where you can get like a 16 or 20 ounce beer on tap for like $3. Okay. So a fun place. Again, portions are huge. Longboards is, I would have to say, it is my absolute favorite place that I've personally experienced on the island. This is on the Bayside, and as you can see, I have here, they have live bands. Staff is amazing. Everybody's super friendly. It's a really, really, really neat place to go. Food is fantastic. The Kraken is Center Island. It's kind of neat because you can sit downstairs or upstairs. In the upstairs, it's mostly enclosed, but they have like these open windows, like cut out in the side of the building. So there's no actual windows there. So it's all open air and it's really neat. And they have some neat decor upstairs as well. And the food was pretty good too. Senor Donkey had fantastic Mexican food. They have a couple different salsas and unlimited chips and salsa, and that is like my favorite food on the planet. And again, they're Center Island, but the huge Mexican food portions, and it was really, really affordable. So really good Mexican food. Konami is a Japanese restaurant. They have teppanyaki and hibachi. A little pricier. Food was really good, and again, they love to eat down there. The portions at every restaurant we went to was, each meal was probably enough for 2 people. Really, really good Japanese food though. And then you have, again, Pirates Landing, which is that grill and experience that's in Port Isabel. The whole place is fun. There are statues outside that you can pose with and different things. There's statues inside. It's just a really, really neat experience. And again, really good food. So again, on the Bayside, there are several bars that have, snack type foods and live music, and you can walk from each one along the bay. Sunset is beautiful. Kick's Ice Cream is a really fun place for ice cream. It is a little pricey, like most of your, ice cream boutique shops are, but really good. They have tons of options. They have banana splits that are like foot long. They're just huge, huge, huge portions. All different flavors of ice cream and different things that they can make for you. Super fun place. And then there's Lifted. And this is another one of a top tourist attraction to me. It's a drive-through daiquiri shop. And so when you pull in, there's this not live music, but loud music, and there's like lights flashing, and it's like a drive-through club experience. And they have, on one side, they have tons of these different slushy machines, and on the right side, they have a few more. So the stuff on the right-hand side is non-alcoholic slushies for kids, and all the slushies on the left are alcoholic slushies for adults. And you can pick and choose if you want to have 5 different flavors in your drink. They'll sit there and mix them and pour them. You never get out of your car. They come to you and they'll go through and tell you what they taste like and give you all the different flavors. It's just super, super fun experience. So I highly recommend it. If you like daiquiris and like frozen like cocktails, you got to go. It's expensive, but it's a lot of fun. So, and my kids like to go through just because it's got the music and they get their own kids slushies. They also sell things like popcorn and others like nachos and things like that. And they even have coolers where you can pick up like a 12-pack of beer or a 2-liter of Coke or whatever. So it's not just the daiquiris, there's a lot to it, and it's just fun experience. So those are my favorites. So activities in South Padre with pricing. All right, so I kind of threw all this together for you guys. There's a lot to do on the island, considering it's only a half a mile wide. And the part that you can actually drive on, while it's 30 miles long, you can only actually drive on a few miles of it before the road dead ends and it's just nothing but sand. Okay, so in that about 4 mile long, half mile wide space, there's a lot to do. So we have Sea Turtle Inc., which is a sea turtle rehab. Costs $4 to $10 per person, depending on age. Okay, they also have military and senior discounts. I think it's like $6 a person. You have the SPI Birding and Nature Center, and that is not supposed to say $50, guys. It's supposed to be $5 to $10 per person. They have all different kinds of birds. You see cranes out there. They have alligators, there are giant tortoises, all different kinds of things. They even have inside, they have a hands-on exhibit where you can actually handle baby crocodiles and snakes and things like that. And it's a lot of fun to go and experience that as well. So the dolphin boat tours, again, they're $15 per person. And it's an hour-and-a-half long boat ride that can be purchased on Viator for travel agents. And I have a whole sheet with links on it coming up in a moment. Sandcastle Lessons. They range from $150 to $600. One of my brothers actually lives about 45 minutes from the island, and he works with the owner of sandcastlelessons.com, and they do hands-on lessons for families, and we'll get more into that here in a moment. The castles they build are incredible. I wouldn't even think it would be possible. There's this free sandcastle exhibit you can walk through on the island. It is free. They do have donation bins around it, but they have several sandcastles that you can actually sit on and take pictures. That's really neat. And then we have Gravity Park, which is that amusement park, and you can go in for free. It's open air. But you do have to pay by attraction, so which is also kind of nice. You don't have to pay this large amount. If you only want to ride the old-fashioned Ferris wheel, then you can do that. They have Isla Blanca Beach Park. That is a water park on the island. It is currently closed for 2022. It typically opens in May and is open through, I believe, the middle of September is usually when it closes. I don't know what the current rates are for daily because they don't have them posted right now since they're currently closed for the season. They do have an XD theater, which is only $6 per person per ride. And it's a very small little place. We went and experienced it. It was a lot of fun. Basically, it's one where your seats move, they may splash water in your face and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of neat because when you go in, you can pick what movie. I think they have over 60 different videos you can choose from. And so it's only your group that goes into this tiny little theater, and it's fun. They also have bay fishing, where you can actually go out on a boat through the bay, and it starts at $25 and goes up from there. While we were on our dolphin tour, we actually saw one of these fishing boats go by, and they were actually catching shark, which is kind of neat. They do have parasailing, golf cart rentals. You can rent golf carts on the island, and they start at $100 for a 4-hour session. It goes up from there. Horseback riding. There's also zip lining, a petting zoo, pony rides, and then the pirate boat tour, which we'll get into again here in a moment. So I have created a slide, and I will share all of these with everybody in some of the groups once we are done, so that you guys can have these to refer back to if you should want them. It kind of gives you just a breakdown of where to find what. All the websites for all the different things we're talking about today are on these pages for you guys. So that is the conclusion of my slides, but there is more I want to show you guys so you guys can kind of understand. So the Sandcastle Lessons, again, they start at $100 for a session, and it goes up from there. But they build like just incredible sandcastles, and they teach you exactly how to do it, and they provide all the tools, and then whatever tools they provide to you, those are actually yours to keep when you're done. So really, really fun experience. I was talking with my brother about it last night because I thought, wouldn't kids get bored? And he said he's only had one time where he was giving lessons where the kids didn't want to have anything to do with it. He said even young kids, you would think they would get, lose interest. He said once you get them going on it, they just have a ton of fun. So super fun experience. Again, something that you can learn and then take with you when you go visit other beaches. So that's sandcastlelessons.com, and super cool. The Sea Turtle Inc. is phenomenal. Again, it's only a few dollars per person. They actually educate you on on sea turtles. They have a whole hospital area where the turtles who are injured, and they're trying to rehab them so they can set them back out into the ocean. And they have different tanks, and they, will have staff walking around educating you on why this particular turtle is in here and what they're doing to help this turtle through their rehab. It's a really, really neat place. They have their current residents that actually are permanent members of Sea Turtle Inc. For one reason or another. As you can see, this sea turtle here is actually missing the majority of its fin. I don't remember why the sea turtle lost it or how it lost it, but they go into details on these different turtles. These are permanent residents who, for one reason or another, cannot go back out into the wild. So they keep them here permanently. And so it's just really neat. This turtle here, they actually built an additional fin for it because it didn't have one at all, and so it can't swim to the top, so they actually built a fin for it to help it swim. So that just really, really neat things. Fun place. My kids and I all loved it. I didn't want to leave. So another fun place to go. So this brings us to the Black Dragon pirate ship cruises. I have not personally gone on this. My father-in-law is actually in South Padre right now, and he booked this experience. So I'm waiting to hear from him to see what they thought of it. But they have, depending on time of year, they have different calendar of events and different scheduling and whatnot. But this is the website where you would go. I don't believe this is available on Viator, so you would have to book it direct through this website, which is on the sheet that I'm going to provide to everybody. But this kind of goes through the activities and things that are on board. They have sword fights, and they do like shootout cannons and, water cannons, and it's really loud. We were on our dolphin tour, and this pirate ship went by, and they set off their water cannon, scared the crap out of me. I thought I was being shot. It was so loud, but they have all kinds of fun activities. They do have drinks and snacks for purchase on board, like cocktails, beer, non-alcoholic, and then just entertainment, as you can see. So I can't wait to someday try this experience. And then Gravity Park. So this is an aerial view of the park. I want to highlight this tent down here at the bottom. This is actually that sandcastle exhibit. So you just walk right in at your leisure. It's usually open, I think, from like 9 or 10 in the morning till like 10 o'clock at night. And you just walk in and you can tour around as many times as you want and walk through it. There's photo opportunities in there. Some really, really neat sandcastle sculptures in there. Old-fashioned Ferris wheel here. This is a go-kart track, and they actually have two. So they have your main one up here, and it's a wooden go-kart track, which is really cool. Something you probably won't find anywhere else. This is all old-fashioned, but they've kept it really well maintained. And then on the bottom in the back corner here, they actually have a kids go-kart track for younger kids, and kids as little as I think like 5 or 6 or something like that can drive their own little go-kart. So again, where else are you going to find something like that? And everything here is it's kind of like a la carte. Like you purchase each activity individually. So they have mini golf, and then they also have kind of like a they have two different things. They have a slingshot ride where you start in a little capsule on the ground and they throw you way up in the air. And they also have one where you are on your laying on your stomach, and they slowly bring you to the very top of these poles. And I forget how high it is. And I'm not afraid of heights, and I'm an adrenaline junkie, but I was like, no way in heck are you going to get me on this thing. I mean, I don't know how high it was high up. It made me dizzy looking at these people being pulled all the way up, and then they let you go. And so anyway, and they have something for everyone at this little, it's called Gravity Park. Super, super fun. So there are lots of places to stay on the island. You can stay in condos on the beach. You can stay in condos center island, different hotels, and you can also stay on the bay side. There are condos over on that side as well. I don't have any images for condos specifically. Verbo is the one who has most of the condos on South Padre. That's a good place to go since that's who we work with as travel agents. And again, I'm just going to go to Verbo site directly for right now, just for ease of things. Like that. So they have tons. Okay, the best place to book this is going to be, so you have Verbo properties. The best place is going to be either through Vacasa or through Expedia Tap. Vacasa, you're going to get a better commission on, and they do have a pretty decent supply of condos. And then Expedia Tap has a ton, but you're only going to make 50% of that commission, right? So start with Vacasa. I used to say, Classic Vacations, but they no longer are working with Verbo for now. So those would be the top two that I would recommend for booking a condo in South Padre. There are, as you can see, there are tons. There's some that have just the condos on the beach. There's others that have like groups of condos where they have like multiple pools. There's so much. It really need to just get in and explore your different options, because there is just a lot. Some of them, like you see, have private pools. It just depends, but they all have beautiful direct beach access, which is, I think it's just amazing. So anyway, that is pretty much all the information I have to share for the moment, but that I have actually planned out for you guys. But I will go ahead and start taking questions, and I can go in more into detail on anything you guys would like. So, Verbo, can we find that on our suppliers page? So it's not Verbo direct. You're going to find Verbo through Expedia Tap and through Vacasa. Vacasa, I have it. I'm not sure if it's listed in the back office under suppliers. I used to be, but this is almost a year and a half ago that I started. So it is, I'm going to put this one in the chat box for you guys. So that is the link for Vacasa. And so again, we can put South Padre. Okay. And they do give commissionable rates when you sign in through that link and you sign up with them. It is commissionable rates, and they'll show you they show you how much commission. Some of them are good, some of them aren't. So you may have to just price compare, you don't want to cheat yourself out either. So yeah, I could look at these condos all day long, guys. I just think it's the most magical place on the planet. I love South Padre. So who has questions, if any, or wants me to go into more detail or show something in particular? can show you guys. I'm not sure if I could find them on here or not. Let's see if I can find the Seville. I've stayed at two different places. The first time we stayed on the beach side, and oh my gosh, I love the place we stayed at. I'll see if I can find something similar on the same property. The last time we stayed, we were trying to like pinch every penny, and so we stayed at in a hotel, Center Island. And let me tell you, it is worth finding a way to afford to stay beachside versus Center Island. It just was not the same. Every morning I would wake up and I was like, oh, I can't just walk down to the beach, you know? And so that was kind of a bummer, but it is still a fun trip. Is there a best time of year to travel? South Padre typically is beautiful year round. During the winter, they typically don't see temperatures. During the winter, I think it gets down to maybe 50. It usually stays pretty pleasant. The high in the wintertime, like January, February, is usually in the upper 60s. So it doesn't ever really get cold. The only time, so we had a big freeze here in Texas. Not this past winter, but the one before, and everything froze up all over the entire state. Like several counties were out of electricity and water, and even South Padre, that was the coldest year. I talked with a lady at a grocery store, and she said that, because I asked her, I was like, you guys have never seen snow, have you? And she laughed and she said, never. She said that the coldest year they'd ever seen was that year that all of Texas froze. And she said it got down to the 30s that year. And she said everybody was just panicking because they've never seen it get that cold. So it does get very hot during the summer. We went this past June. And oh my gosh, I felt like I was melting after being outside for 5 minutes. It was almost miserable if we weren't in the water. When the first time we went was October of last year, and it was perfect. It got up to like the mid 80s every day, but with the humidity, it felt like it was in the 90s. And the water in the ocean was cool, but still very nice. So I would definitely, because they also don't see a lot of hurricanes over there because it's closer to Mexico. So definitely, I would recommend, if you're wanting to travel, or recommend the best time to go, I would say probably September through November, and then again, March through March and April, because it's still it's not peak season here. So when we went in October, the island was pretty much empty. There was nobody on the beach. Like it was amazing. It was almost like we had the entire island to ourselves. Restaurants weren't super busy. When we went in June, the island was packed. The beaches were packed, especially on the weekends, because locals would come down from Port Isabel, and the beaches were just absolutely packed. So yeah, that Texas freeze was horrible. But yeah, so but best time to go, I would recommend September to November, and then again in the spring as the best time to go. But there's not a bad time to go. See here. For a family of 5, do you recommend condo over? Absolutely, condo, condo, condo. So we actually went, how many of us went? It was myself, my husband, 3 kids. So we went with 6 of us. We were able to rent. And that's the other thing too, is during the summer, the prices on your condos are going to be much more expensive than going in off season, like everywhere else. You know, peak season, spring break week, along with, you know, end of May to middle of August, it's going to be way more expensive for everything, and everything's going to be crowded. So I know that a lot of people can't go when, off season. I just let my kids play hooky for a week because I was like, no, we're doing it. We're going off season. And it was such a great time. But we were able to get in off season. So October of last year, we were able to get a 3-bedroom, 3-bath condo on the beach, in a condo unit that had 2 pools and a hot tub. It was $1,500 for the entire week. So and it was beautiful. The furniture in the condo was all brand new. I couldn't have asked for a better place to stay. Definitely a condo. When we went in June of this year, we chose, we stayed in that hotel and we ended up actually sharing it with some friends because they wanted to come down too. And it was just a little 2 bedroom. It was actually, it was a hotel, but we got one of their family units, which was a 2 bedroom, 2 bath. And it was spacious, but again, it was a lot of people and it was cramped. And I definitely recommend condo. And the pricing for what you get versus the hotels is they're almost the same. And so definitely. Okay. Any other questions or anything anybody want me to show them while I'm waiting? And you guys, if you want to unmute yourselves, you're welcome. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find um, the condo that we stayed in, just so I can show you guys. See if I can find it. I remember it. It was Seville 406. I remember our condo number and everything because it was perfect. Is there a fee when using the ferry on Port Isabel? Oh my gosh, that is something I totally forgot to show you guys. So a ferry, I don't know, but there is free bus service though. They tours the island and will take you into Port Isabel, and it runs 7 days a week. Depending on the season and stuff, they may adjust their hours, but they run all across the island, up and down the island in Port Isabel, and there's different routes they take, and you can hop on and off that bus as much as you'd like for free. And the website for that is also on the sheet that I will be posting later for everybody. Yeah, and they have little 1 bedroom condos too, or even studio condos on the beach. So don't think that you have to have, a big condo or that it has to be a lot of people to make it worthwhile. My brother, the first time he went down, it was just him and his wife, and they stayed in a little 1 bedroom condo, and it was a few $100 for the week. So again, depending on when you go, November would be a good time to go. It'd be absolutely beautiful. So let me see if I can find this condo for you guys. Let's just go here. Here it is. This is the condo that I personally stayed in, Seville 406. I booked it, I think when we went, I'm not sure if I booked it through Verbo Direct, or I don't remember. But anyway, this is it. Y'all, this furniture is not the furniture it had. They need to update it because they actually have brand new like microfiber reclining couches and recliners in here. Okay. The furniture is all brand new. This is all old furniture. But the view here, it has a wraparound balcony. This is on the 4th floor. There's elevators for it. And so all along here, there's patio furniture out on that patio. But anyway, it was awesome. It had everything we needed. I want to go back. So this was the master bedroom. This bed was not very comfortable, I will say that, but that was like our only thing we didn't like about it. This did not open. Well, you can open the windows, but you can't go out through here. But we had this amazing ocean view from our master bedroom, which also had its own bathroom. This was the room that my mom stayed in. It also has its own bathroom. And then this is the room that we had our kids stay in. We had 3 kids with us, and these are twin size beds. So they took turns sleeping on the couch in the living room. But again, so for a large family, absolutely. Highly, highly, highly recommend this place in particular, just because it also had the 2 pools. Like I said, this is one of the pools, and the temperature, again, we went at the end of October, and the temperature in the pools was fantastic. They weren't super freezing cold water. And this is the other pool. And then right in this corner over here, there is a hot tub. There's bathrooms right here by the pools. And again, we were in October and there was nobody else there. Like we had the pools to ourselves the entire time. How's the parking over there? With families having trucks or SUVs, most of the time I wanted to see if there's large vehicle friendly areas. Yeah, so we took a minivan when we went, well, both times we took a minivan and um, we had no problems. This particular condo had its own set of parking, and you'll get a parking pass when you're checking in, allowing you only people who are staying at the condos to park in the parking for them. There's also several small parking lots next to the different public beach accesses. There's several areas along the island where you can go to the beach for free, where you just park in one of their parking areas and you walk a short distance down one of the little boardwalk areas and you're on the beach. There are a few, if you drive farther down the island, or if you want to go where those jetties are, those areas you have to pay, but you're driving directly onto the beach. Like you can park your car out in an area like this, but those are farther down away from the condos. You're not going to have to be driving on the beach where you're at in front of your condo. That's farther down the island. So you see the beach access here. So farther down the island, past all the condos, you can drive directly onto the beach, and it costs like $12 if you want to do that. But there's plenty of areas along the island in between. Like you can see this parking area in front here. You have to be, staying in the condos to be parked here. This over here on the side is public access parking. You park for free, and then you can walk along and go to the beach. So yeah, and again, it's free, 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 free. I love it. So much to do. And there is also another condo. There's tons, but another one I will highlight for you guys. I haven't stayed there, but I want to so bad. It is called, now that I said that, I'm not gonna be able to think of what it's called. Hang on, let me think. Oh gosh. Oh, here it is. It's the Sida Towers, and it's not, I didn't make a list for places to stay, but I'll put it in the chat box. Sida Towers, that is closer to the jetty type area. It's closer to the beginning of the island. Seville is about halfway down the island, which I also kind of liked. Felt like it was a little bit further away from all of the chaos and the action. The Sida Towers are closer to the front of the island and closer to the water park, but it is a massive complex, tons and tons and tons of condos. They have at least two, if not more, pools, multiple hot tubs. They have tennis courts, all kinds of stuff. Also, something else to let you guys know is that there are several condos on the island that are pet friendly. So if you want to bring your dog, a lot of them have to require that it's a small pet, but there are a few condos that will allow larger pets. Most of those are center island condos, but again, if you want to bring your dog, you can do that. The hotel we stayed at, which was the Padre Inn, it wasn't a luxury hotel, but it also was not run down or anything. They are pet friendly and they allowed large dogs. And so I was able to bring my 80-pound pit bull with me, and he was allowed to walk through the hotel lobby with us and everything as long as he was on a leash. So super pet friendly there as well. But that's something to consider, is they do have lots of pet friendly condos on the island for anybody who's in driving distance. Yes, they are. I got him as my pit. I got him as a rescue a couple years ago. He had been in the pound for 6 months, and they said that he wasn't good with small kids. And at the time, our youngest was 5, and I looked at him and I was like, I have to have this dog. There's something, and I'm not a dog person. I don't know about cats. I'm not sure. I'm more of a cat person, but I saw this dog and I was like, I have to have him, and he's been the best dog ever. So. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I've never looked See, I mean, I would assume if you can bring a dog, especially if it's one that's like, oh, the pets have to be, the dog has to be under 20 pounds or whatever. I don't see why you can't bring a cat, but I haven't looked at that specifically. I was more worried about bringing my dog, which we did to that Padre Inn, and it was good. So, that's it. Yeah, South Padre. It's amazing. The view is amazing. The water is, so we can talk about the water a little bit, just so you can share with clients. It's not as clear as water you would find in Jamaica or wherever, Mexico or, Barbados. It's not that crystal clear, but it is clearer than other Texas beaches that I've been to. I currently live in Freeport, Texas, so we're right near Surfside Beach. And anybody who's been down here knows that water here, it tends to stay murkier, as well as in Galveston. You might have some days where it's kind of clear a little bit, but not really. So, but Padre, it's kind of like happy medium, I guess. It's not super murky, but it's also not that crystal clear. Also, something to note to your clients is there are a lot of jellyfish, which some people, it kind of scares them. But what happens is they come up when the tide rises at night, the jellyfish come up higher. And when the tide goes out in the morning, they get left up on shore. They don't go back out with the tide. And so in the morning, she'll see jellyfish all along the beach. So as long as you don't touch the tentacles, you're fine. We did have a couple instances when we were visiting last October where we would actually see them in the water. And so depending on what time of year you go, you have to watch for them, because they do come up farther, and there's more of them up near the shore when it starts to get cooler. So October through probably March, you're going to have more jellyfish than you do during the summer. We saw a few during this past June, but it was much greater in October because they're trying to get closer to that warmer water. Okay. That's something else to consider. But again, if they're washed up on the beach, you can actually touch the top of the jellyfish and it won't hurt you at all. And they actually feel pretty cool. I thought it was a neat experience. So. Yeah, I had never got stung by any. Again, we would just watch, we kind of would look out. But when we were there in June, we didn't see any in the water, just a couple occasionally on the beach. But in October, we saw a ton. So it depends on when you go, I guess, too. Are there any restaurants that serve jellyfish as food? I have never heard of somebody eating a jellyfish. I've heard of people eating squid, which I guess is similar, but I have never, no, I haven't been to any, at least that I saw that they served it. Yeah, I don't know. There's a ton of restaurants that we didn't get to go to again because we had picky kids. And so my husband and I had to had to find places where they served, chicken strips or pizza or something like that. There's a lot of seafood restaurants that he would have loved to go to, and they may have something like that there. So, and they also have fast food places on the island. There's McDonald's, there's a Denny's, they have a Starbucks. Um, there's gas stations. There are laundromats. So if you happen to stay at a place that doesn't have a washer and dryer, there are some laundromats on the island as well. There's car washes because you're going to want to wash your car before you head home because you're going to have sand everywhere. Any other questions before we hop off? I'm not going to keep everybody on for the full hour if nobody has questions. Okay, is there a Waffle House? No, just a Denny's. As far as I know, there's just a Denny's as far as diners. But there's like Texas smoke pit type barbecue places. There's the Japanese house that I was showing you guys. There's all kinds of seafood places. There's Mexican restaurants. There are other froyo type places, but the one I went to was Kits, and so that's why I shared that one with you guys. There's they have a Whataburger and a KFC. What else? Any other questions before we hop off? Because if not, I will go ahead and let you guys continue on with the day. This is recorded, so I will be posting this here in just a bit, as well as those flyers that I made that have all of the websites and the one with the pricing and all of that stuff. I will go ahead and share all of that with you guys so you can take it and store it away for future reference. So you guys are very welcome. I know I want to go now too. All right, you guys have a great day. That can be found on the Evo site, correct? I'm not sure if they would have it on the Evo rewards. As far as suppliers, you can book a lot of the excursions through Viator. Um, some of them have to be booked directly through the website links that I put on the flyer. And so that's why I'm going to provide that to you guys. You don't have to go do all the searching. I've already done all the research for you. So now you guys have it, that little tool you guys can just save. So, all right, guys, have a great day and catch you later.